Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. Back again today with another match preview for you. It's West Bromwich Albion versus Swansea, which is on Monday night, kicking off at 8 o'clock at the Hawthorns in the EFL Championship, of course. A really big game for Albion. I think it cannot be understated, the importance of this one. Every game I seem to be saying that it's a big game, and I know it sounds cliched, but every game really turns into must-win now for Albion. Just to, I suppose, keep us in the top half, which I think, it's amazing how the standards have really slipped this season and how we find ourselves in this predicament. So, coming up in today's video, we'll be chatting through a bit of an opposition report, talking about Swansea City. What can we expect from them? What sort of lineup will they play? What sort of football do they play? That sort of stuff. And then also my thoughts on the current situation at West Brom, including a bit of a predicted lineup and also a score prediction at the end if we're feeling lucky. But make sure you comment your score predictions, your thoughts ahead of the game, and also what you'd like to see in the starting 11 tomorrow for tomorrow's game. If you haven't already, be sure to go and check out the last video on the channel, which was talking about what's going wrong at West Bromwich Albion. I thought that was pretty decent watch if you fancy hearing my thoughts on the different reasons as to why Albion are where they are. There'll be a link in the description of this video to go and check that out. So go back, click the channel and go and check that out, and be sure to subscribe if you're new around here. But let's crack straight on and chat West Bromwich Albion versus Swansea City. You're watching the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. For match previews, match day vlogs, match reactions and more, make sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. So let's get straight into this match preview. Of course, as I said, a huge game for Albion to try and pick their way back into the top half of the EFL Championship table. But let's start with the opposition. It's Swansea City coming up at the Hawthorns, making the trip, I suppose, in the easterly direction towards the Albion ground. Of course, they're stood in 17th in the Championship. They've been in really mixed form as of late. They've won 2 but lost 3 of their last 5 games. And they're currently, of course, managed by Russell Martin, of course, a player that's played a reasonable level, of course, in the top flight. Of course, I think he played as well at MK Dons too, and of course managed there as well. So, looking forward to seeing what we can expect from him, and of course we'll chat about that in today's video. It caused our only our second defeat of the season in the reverse fixture at the Liberty Stadium, and that was a real eye-opener really for Albion. Of course, Stoke City did it not too long ago, where Joel Perot, Stoke City did it when they beat us 1-0 at the Bet365 away from home, and this was kind of the start of this away form downwards trajectory where we saw plenty of defeats come away from home. We saw plenty of poor performances away from home, and I don't think I think I could probably count on one hand the amount of reasonable performances we've seen, and I think I probably wouldn't get past 3 on my fingers, to be honest, if I had to count those out. So I feel like the away form has been pretty poor this season, as we all know, but the performances as well have not been satisfactory away from home, and Swansea were one of those teams that really took advantage of this poor away form with a 2-1 victory at the Liberty Stadium last time out. Joel Perot and Jamie Patterson got the goals in that reverse fixture at the Liberty. I just remember Swansea constantly exploiting what was a really, really high line from Valérien Ismaël in that game, and I saw that that was when I started to think he really won't change it for anybody. I remember watching it and I remember just thinking, the amount of goals they could have had against us, it was absolutely ridiculous. So I feel like they exploited what was a very, very high line by getting their men in behind. Obviously they do like to play the nice football, as we'll get onto in this video, but they found a real way to get in behind and start to really exploit that high line that Ismaël was trying to play. I don't think that'll be as much of a problem since we found ourselves camped inside our own penalty area against Middlesbrough at large points of the last game. So I'm interested to see how we approach this one, because obviously that was a real way for them to win, and obviously I'm sure they watched Stoke and watched them do a similar thing. But we will see what happens in this game and see if they can exploit that high line again. But I doubt the high line will be there, so I'm not sure that'll be a real relevant avenue for them to explore. But of course, their top scorer, Joel Perot, 12 goals so far this season. I saw Joe Massey from the Express and Star say it not too long ago. He was really, he was like, I don't see Albion signing that sort of player like Joel Perreault, literally plucked from PSV's in Holland, in the Netherlands, sorry, in their reserve team. I mean, that is absolutely baffling, and he's come on to score 12 Championship goals this season. Probably in a better side that create more chances, may have got some more goals than that. And of course, Jamie Patterson, of course, doing very well on the assist front. He's got 8 goals and 5 assists so far this season. Former Walsall man. For those who live locally to the Hawthorns, has played several games for Walsall. I remember him playing for Walsall when I used to go and watch when I was younger. So yeah, I think there's 2 players in there that have automatically take your sort of ones to watch spots. I think they've got some really good players, to be honest, Swansea. I just don't think they create enough chances. Of course, got the highest possession average in the league with 64.6% possession on average per game. That is a massive stat for the Swans. I think, obviously Russell Martin is sort of a case of passing for passing's sake, to be honest, at sometimes, but they're not doing very well in terms of their league position, but I think a lot of Swansea fans will be happy about the maybe style of play that they're trying to achieve. And obviously the results have been very, very up and down this season, and sort of evening out as a sort of low mid-table Championship side. So they've got the top average accurate passes in the league with 514 accurate passes on average per game. They are a passing side. They are the top in that category as well. So, considering they're 17th in the league, I don't think it'll take too much, maybe in the summer, of reinvestment and bringing in some different players to potentially knock them up into the playoffs, because they are playing some nice football. They just maybe aren't creating those chances, obviously with their expected goals being 21st in the league, with 34.2 XG. Yeah, onto their predicted lineup now. Obviously, we expect them to play some nice football, but they'll be in a 3-4-3 formation, as is most commonly used by Russell Martin. In goal, I've gone for Fisher. Along the back 3, I've gone for Carl Norton, of course, the player that Grady Dean Ghana ruthlessly flicked that ball over the head of when we played them back in the 1920 season. He's back from injury and has been a big part of the Swansea back 3. Ben Cabango in the middle, of course, done really well, and I think he's been called up for Wales a couple of times. Burns in the other centre-back position. Then wing backs, Hans Wolf is back from injury as well. Of course, we'll see how he gets on in that left wing back role. But according to a few Swansea fans that I've seen, has done pretty decently since stepping into that role. Ryan Christie, of course, right wing back, on loan from Fulham. I think he's just a very solid Championship right wing back. Of course, they had Ethan Laird on loan from Man United last time we played, and he was pretty good in that fixture. So midfield partnership of Flynn Downs and Matt Grimes. Of course, Matt Grimes, cannot believe how he is still playing for Swansea. I wanted to see him at the Albion. I don't see why we couldn't make an effort to sign him, but yeah, of course, and a front 3 of Oliver Nunsham. Of course, was on loan at Marseille from Celtic and played several games for Celtic as well, and was quite good for them. Joel Perreault in the middle and Jamie Patterson in that left wing position. But that's all you need to know about Swansea. Some good football being played by them, some not so good football being played by West Bromwich Albion, who are 13th in the EFL Championship. Dreadful form of late is probably the nice way of putting it. 13th is an embarrassment for the type of players and the size of club that we've been and the amount of years spent in the Premier League over the past 10 years is just being completely undone. And of course, as I said, if you want to go and check out that video, is what I think is going wrong with West Bromwich Albion, link in the description. Go and check that out when it's ready for when the video is out. Of course, Steve Bruce. Still winless as Albion boss. It's a real unfamiliar territory for him, not having that new manager bounce as he comes into the club. 4 games, one draw and 3 losses coming out of his reign so far. Unfamiliar territory, as I said, for him without that manager bounce. We've been poor across the park since he came in. I don't think that's necessarily due to him. I think the players have really thrown the towel in before they've even got started. And they don't seem up for it at all, and I find that completely unacceptable. If you go and watch that video, as I said, there'll be plenty about the players in there and what I think that they've been doing wrong. But yeah, I think there's just no effort from large sections of the players, and I think that they're really letting Bruce down. Probably, a manager that's tried to come in and try and play the right way. I think that the problems at the club go a bit further beyond Steve Bruce at the moment. He finds himself in a big predicament because this is an embarrassing league position for Albion to be 13th in the table, wedged in between Preston North End and Blackpool, who are above Preston above us by 1 point and Blackpool below us by 2 points. It's embarrassing that those teams are really sandwiching us together, who haven't had great seasons themselves. And now we're heading into now the bottom half of the Championship, which is where we are at the moment, and 8 points off the playoffs. It's looking a real distant memory when we were back chasing second and first, being third place. So, yeah, here's my predicted lineup, or I'm going to say preferred lineup. This is maybe what I'd like to see, and this is me being a bit wishful. So I'd go for Sam Johnston in goal. I'd go for a back four of Donnell Furlong, Shemi Ajayi, Carl Bartley, and Connor Townsend. Then I'd go for Malumbi in midfield alongside Alex Moa, and then I push Taylor Gardner-Hickman into that advanced role. I think he needs to start. I think it's a bit ridiculous how he cannot get a game among some of these players that are playing really bad. So, yeah, I think that it's definitely needed that we push a more advanced player forward, and I think Gardner-Hickman, it's criminal that he's not starting. Then on the wings, I go for Dean Garner and Callum Robinson, with Andy Carroll in the middle up front. As for a prediction, I will go for a 1-1 draw between the two sides. I'm not particularly optimistic about this one, but I'm hoping that things will hopefully pick up in terms of performances and the base level, really, effort. I think that's probably the biggest thing. But yeah, that's the end of this match preview. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Drop your score predictions down below and your thoughts ahead of the game, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.